Hi, I'm Nilisha Ferrao from Altcoin Observer, and we have with us Jason Fernandes, co-founder of AdLunam. Happy to have you with us, Jason. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and about your company?
Thank you. So essentially, I'm with AdLunam, co-founded it. Essentially, AdLunam helps projects in the lead up to the IDO or IEO. That involves connecting them with investors, advisors, mentors, institutional investors, market makers, sometimes also exchanges and launchpads to get them listed, ensure that they have a very, very successful public sale.
All right, so you guys get a lot of projects on AdLunam, right? So what is some of the top advice, top three tips that you would give projects on how to succeed? What do you think they should focus on?
So I think one of the things that new projects tend to make is problems really that they tend to encounter is they spend some of the initial funds that they've raised into development, immediately rolling it into development, and so what that does is it really hurts their ability to go out and raise funds, connect with other investors, because they have so much funds that they're focused on development. Now, if what they're doing is technologically novel, it makes sense to do that because they have to prove, for example, to investors that it's even possible to do what they're actually proposing. However, a lot of times what they're doing is not technologically challenging. It's possible to do with a big enough team. And so it's just a question of executing. And so the question then becomes about who is the team, what are their resources, who are their partners, what is their ability to actually execute. So it's not quite about developing the product. It's more about how can they take that product and turn it into a successful company.
All right, so not to focus essentially only on development, but all other aspects as well. Okay, and also you are an expert on tokenomics. So could you share with our audience what is fundamentally important while designing the tokenomics of a project?
Thank you. That's a really good question. Tokenomics is something that's very overlooked rather, when it comes to new companies. One of the things that's really important to do is to construct your structure really well. So you want to make sure that the founders have a fair amount of tokens. They don't have too many. You have enough tokens for marketing. You have enough tokens for to incentivize users. You have community tokens. So you really have to structure your tokenomics right in order to make sure that all stakeholders are incentivized to behave exactly the way you want to. Ultimately, that's what tokenomics is about. It's about setting incentives and goals and ensuring that everybody's on the same page. So one of the issues is sort of making sure that there's not one person who has too many tokens. You're not giving out tokens in areas where you maybe don't have to. You've chosen your advisor as well. You've chosen your mentor as well. And then everybody is working together to make sure that the project is really successful. So I think that's one of the things that you want to think about. You also want to think about utility, connecting the token to actual utility within your system. It's really easy. It's actually trivial to create a token. What's difficult is ensuring that token has value and ascribing the value to the token from your business. So it's almost more difficult to ensure that you have a proper business, and then that value from the business is translated into tokens. So that's really where a good understanding of tokenomics, token utility comes from. And one of the things that projects tend to do is they tend to minimize the role of advisors. They don't really understand that they need good advisors. Like they'll come to launchpads and say, hey, well, we need investors. Well, then they're not going to get investors unless they have the buy-in from advisors or institutional investors to begin with. Very, very rarely are VCs, good VCs, eager to put in the seed round or be a lead investor. Usually they want to come in after the company has had significant traction, at least from a fundraising perspective. So.
All right, that's really interesting to know, and congratulations on your award at WikiExpo in Bangkok in the category of tokenomics. Happy to have you on board. One last question. Since you are in the crypto Web3 space, what is your prediction for Bitcoin for the end of the year?
That's a good question. It's hard to predict an actual price. I would say that with the Fed rate cuts imminent, I think that should really boost the amount of money in the system. And while in the short term, in the immediate short term, people could view it as hurting Bitcoin because now there's just more money in the system. I think in the longer term, what's going to end up happening is Bitcoin behaves like a tech stock, so you're going to see a lot of investment move into Bitcoin once money is easier to come by. So right now, the Fed has tightened up the strings, essentially making sure that the interest rates are the highest that they've been pretty much since the 70s. Now we're waiting for the very first rate cut in the last few years, and I think that's going to be a massive catalyst for pushing the price of Bitcoin higher and higher as this plays out over the next few months with more and more rate cuts coming. So I think maybe initially you might see a dip right after the announcement, but then you would start slowly seeing it rise as more and more money enters the system.
Any figure you would like to put on it?
I would definitely say it would be it is going to hit its all-time high again before the end of the year. Probably hit 72 or 73.
All right, so there you have it from Jason Fernandes, co-founder of AdLunam. Happy to have you with us. Thank you.